Hi Bloomers, it's Wendy, and you're listening to Bloom with Flores. In today's episode, we have the privilege of sitting down with an inspiring mother who has faced her teenage daughter's diabetes diagnosis with remarkable grace and courage. Through her impactful social media posts, she's actively contributing to raising awareness about this challenging journey. Join us as we delve into her experiences and insights in this important conversation. Hi, Stacey. Thank you for joining me on my podcast today. I truly appreciate your work and commitment to raising awareness about type 1 diabetes and sharing how it has personally impacted not only your daughter, but your family as a whole. So without further ado, please feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me, Wendy. My name is Stacey.
So, Stacey, describe Olivia to us and how she was growing up. She was a fairly healthy child, active child.
Oh yeah, has been healthy from day one, never had any issues. She was very active as a child. She started judo when she was 5 years old. She's still currently in judo. We had her in soccer, we had her in dance, we had her in different things. And then one day everything changed.
Okay, so let's fast forward to that one day, Stacey. And did you notice something different?
Yeah, so about probably a week before her diagnosis, I was telling Steve, my husband, that something's not right. I think that she might be type 1 diabetic because I work in a hospital. I work around mostly type 2 diabetics, but I noticed a change in her. She was drinking a lot more water than normal. That's your typical symptom, really. She was getting up in the middle of the night to pee, which she never did before. Other things that I didn't notice until I looked back on pictures was she did lose weight. I just thought she was having a growth spurt. What were the other things? She had really dry hands, which I found strange. I thought it was like an eczema that started on her hands, or maybe she was just, the soap at school was irritating her hands, or maybe she was just washing them with too hot water. So cream wasn't working. So I found that symptom very bizarre. And then the thing that really believed me that it was actually type 1 was that she had blurred vision and she had abdominal pain, which I didn't realize was a symptom. But the blurred vision really got me into gear and to take her to the hospital.
Okay, so it required immediate attention. So you didn't go to your family doctor, you just went straight to the hospital?
Well, I took her to the family doctor probably the weekend before, like when I first suspected it. And she gave me a requisition for blood work. So we went to a clinic to get blood done. The line was so long, it was around the block. It was so bizarre. And she was so, Olivia, she was so fatigued and she couldn't stand in line with me. So she waited in the car. And then finally she just said, Mommy, I can't be here anymore. So we left. And yeah.
So at that point, you went to Emerge, Stacey?
And not at that point. It was a couple days later. It was either the next day or 2 days later.
And her
Yeah.
symptoms got worse, or?
Yeah, the blurred vision and the abdominal pain was the last straw. I was like, we need to, this is something serious. Yeah.
Okay. So walk us through the diagnosis process.
So Steve took her to the hospital. He took her to Emerge, where they didn't want her to eat or drink anything. They did blood work. And a couple hours later, the doctor came in and said, yes, it is type 1 diabetes. We're going to transport her to Centenary Hospital because she was diagnosed at the General.
Mm-hmm.
So then they took her by ambulance to Centenary, and she stayed there for 3 days.
Okay. And how crucial was that timing? getting
Uh,
her diagnosed because of the
yeah, it was
severity of the symptoms?
pretty crucial because her body was already in, um, what is it? Diabetic ketoacidosis. She was
Hmm.
already, her blood sugar was, I believe it was 26, which the average person's blood sugar is about, 4.55. So it was really elevated, although I know, um, people that have had worse at diagnosis. So, but hers was about 26. And yeah, they started her on insulin right away and started the teaching. That's why she was there for 3 nights to get her blood sugar under control. That took a few days and to teach us how to take care of her and teach her how to take care of herself too.
Okay, so now you hit the ground running, right? You had to learn everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Explain that to us.
So during her stay at the hospital, the nurses would come in, and the first day they walk us through everything, and like we were in touch with the dietitians, the doctors, and they would go through the insulin that she needed and teach us how to administer it and how much to give her and carb counting and what she should eat, what she can eat. Well, they basically say type 1 diabetics can't eat anything. And yes, they can because they take insulin to correct the blood sugar. But they should still eat properly because everything that they eat counts. Every single thing has carbs in it, and that's how you have to count the carbs to, um, figure out how much insulin you need with everything you drink, everything they eat, everything that goes in their body. They have to take insulin for, or else their blood sugar will go up.
Hmm. So I know you can't speak for her, but what were some of the challenges she faced while she was there, aside from now, okay, she has to take insulin. Now she has to learn about this new diet.
Yeah, it was stressful. It was very stressful for her being, 11 years old. She was just like a month before she turned 12. It was extremely stressful on her. Um, and we knew that we had to get her help other than us in regards to speaking to a professional. So when she got home, I got in touch with a therapist who's a social worker, and she started visiting him regularly until she felt comfortable enough where she could manage her feelings on her own. It was
Hmm.
very stressful. She was worried all the time. She told me that she was afraid to go to sleep because if your blood sugar drops when you're sleeping, um, you can go into a coma and you can not wake up possibly. So
Hmm.
she was really scared.
Hmm.
And it's really scary,
Yeah. So,
diagnosed.
yeah, what were some of your challenges then? I know you were both kind of like, um, fight or flight type of situation, right?
Yeah, so we were lucky because, she was put on the, Libre sensor almost immediately after her diagnosis, which, you can scan. It has like a little machine that you can scan the blood sugar, so you don't have to be constantly pricking your finger. So that was helpful. So in the middle of the night, I would wake up every hour or 2 hours or whatever, and I could just scan her and see her blood sugar, make sure it was at a safe level and not disturb her. So she was really lucky with that. But I mean, it went back to, I felt like we had a newborn baby again
Yeah.
because it's a constant worry, that, if she has a low, and that can be very dangerous, or if her blood sugar is too high for a long period of time, that's also dangerous for her.
Hmm.
So because when people have, high blood sugars for long periods of time, it damages the organs in the
Hmm.
body and it damages the nerves, and that's what causes, loss of feeling in the fingers and the toes. I know people have heard of that with type 2, but it also happens in type 1 as well. And then it can lead to kidney failure and loss of limbs. And yeah, it's just scary.
Yeah. What did those few months feel like?
Oh, it was hell. It was hell. A lot of crying. A lot of crying. I could still cry now from just talking about it because you don't want your child to suffer,
No.
right? You don't want your child to go through anything like that. And knowing that she has this for life, there is no cure, there is no medicine that can just take it away is awful. It's an awful feeling as a parent, knowing
Hmm.
that. And you just all you want to do is just take it away and you can't.
Hmm.
So
Stacey, what are some of the misconceptions or misunderstandings about type 1 diabetes?
So a lot of people think that it's because you fed your kid too much sugar, which that is not it at all. My children were, they were allowed to have treats, ice cream and whatever, but I never gave them juice boxes when they were younger. They weren't allowed to drink juice because of the high sugar content. Treats were limited. And now all of a sudden, she needs juice boxes to survive whenever she has a low. So it's just really ironic and crazy. So that's
Hmm.
one thing that people think that it's, caused by giving your child too much sugar, which that's not it at all. It's genetic. It can be genetic, and it's not genetic for us because no one in our family that we're aware of has type 1 diabetes. So they're really not sure why it happens to a lot of people. The doctors are just, it's puzzling.
Hmm. And how has your perspective on health and well-being evolved since her diagnosis?
Oh yeah, so I worked out. I used to exercise and eat healthy before her diagnosis. Um, Now I really make it a point to stay on top of my exercising to help motivate her to stay on top of her exercising and her eating properly. And she's 15 right now, and that does not always work, but both Steve and I try to do that to help motivate her. And both of our kids. We try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of parents that do as I do, not do as I say, right?
Right.
You lead by example.
That's what you
Um,
have.
yeah. Are there any tools that you've found helpful in managing her diabetes?
Mm, Not really. There's type 1 diabetics out there
Mm.
on Instagram that I follow that, help. Um, the fact that she's not on the Libre sensor anymore. She's on the Dexcom, and she has, sorry, my bad. She is on an insulin pump now,
Mm.
which she was not on an insulin pump when she was first diagnosed. When she was first diagnosed, for the first over a year, she had to take her insulin by injections every day. So we had to figure out, do the carb counting, minus the fiber, and then she would inject through needle every single time. But then she got a grant from the government that paid for the pump. The pump is just over $6,000. So she got the pump, and that has made her life and helped control her blood sugar a lot better. Yeah.
What does that pump do?
Her Dexcom and her pump work together. So then that allows the pump to administer insulin when her blood sugar is too high, or when it's too low, the pump will stop giving insulin. But that doesn't mean that it's perfect. It is not perfect.
Right.
It is just helped. It's helped a lot, but she still has lows and she still has highs because she still has to figure out her carbs before every meal. And she still has to input the carbs into the pump in order for it to give the right amount of insulin. That's how the pump works.
So does it look more of like you're meal prepping for her, or is it she's doing it now, all the counts herself?
She does all the counts herself.
Okay.
Occasionally I'll help her, like if we go to a restaurant or whatever, she'll say, Mommy, what are the carbs for this? But mostly she is very independent with her diabetes now. She has become very independent. I feel like she's on top of it. I learned how to use her pump in the beginning. She's been on the pump for almost 2 years, actually 2 years this month. And now I don't know how to work the pump right now because I forgot. And when I ask her for a refresher when she's doing something, she does it so fast that I can't even. I'm like, can you slow down? And she's like, nope, she's done. So yeah, that's how that works. So she's in complete control of her diabetes. She's because she's 15 years old, she's out and about with her friends, she's at school, she eats whatever she wants. And we have very little control than we did when she was first diagnosed, which is frustrating.
So this goes right into the next question, which is as a parent, it's hard to give your child that independence, right? Are you
Mhm.
finding it more difficult that she has diabetes, or are you okay with it
Mm,
now?
no, I think we're okay with it now because we've learned to just all we can do with any teenager is just educate her, remind her of the importance of eating healthy and exercise. We give her the tools, but it's up to her to implement them and to want to do that for herself.
Hmm.
That's all we can do. In the beginning, it was we fought constantly over her wanting treats, and we wanted her to be super healthy. We didn't want her to have treats. We wanted her, when we gave her a treat, it was like sugar free, and we were crazy parents in the beginning, and that did cause a lot of problems, especially like with our relationship. It was very difficult. It put a lot of stress on her. It put a lot of stress on us and the relationship. So we have learned to just be more chill,
Hmm.
and provide the education, and she has to make her decisions because in the end this is her condition. She
Hmm.
has to live with this condition, and we're not going to be there all the time. Like when she's done high school and off to university, we're not going to be there. So we have to learn to relax a little bit, and we have.
Can you share a memorable moment that makes you proud of her?
Oh, every day we're proud of her, every day. There's not one thing that comes to mind. The fact that she has good and bad days with her eating, and good and bad days and weeks with her exercising, but she's starting to know the importance of it, and she's taking more initiative with her exercising and getting back into judo fully, where before she didn't want to. We had to really push her to go. COVID played a huge part on that. But no, she's great every day. Every day, I'm proud of her. We're proud of her. Yep.
So you post a lot on social media about diabetes awareness. Do you feel compelled now to be an advocate?
Oh, definitely, definitely. You have to. You have to advocate for your child. You have to advocate for other people's children that have it, and you want to educate. At least I feel that way. I want to educate people on um, what type 1 diabetes is, how they manage it, how they um, the symptoms, the signs. If they ever notice a family member or friend, whoever, with these signs and symptoms, they'll recognize it. And that has actually happened to Olivia, her friend that she met when she was 5 years old from judo. Very good friends. Her Mom called me up one day and said, uh, you know, so and so's blood sugar is really, really high because she has other health issues that she deals with. And, do you think it's type 1 diabetes? And I said, you got to take her to the hospital. Take her to the hospital and find out. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose her, but take her to the hospital. And sure enough, one of her best friends was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is insane. It's completely insane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
That's
we were
great.
shocked. We were shocked. It's unbelievable. Still can't believe it.
So, how old is Olivia now?
She's 15.
15.
Yep.
Are you part of any communities on Facebook or other platforms?
No, I'm not on Facebook. I follow some type 1 people on Instagram and like Diabetes Canada and Beyond Type 1 on Instagram and get some information from them from time to time.
Okay,
But I'm not.
and she's you said she's 15. Is she being seen by a pediatrician or
Oh yeah, she has a doctor that follows her. She goes to a special diabetic center
okay.
that she goes to every 3 months for a follow-up visit. And every 3 months, they check her A1C, which is to see, it's just like she gives a drop of blood and they check to see how her blood sugars have been for the past 3 months to make sure that they are um, within good standing, really, to
Hmm.
make sure that she hasn't had any issues. She's followed. Yes, she has to be followed, and she will be followed by that doctor. Maybe not that specific doctor because she's under a pediatric doctor right now. For the rest of her life, she will have a doctor for her diabetes.
Right. So, what advice would you offer to other parents who are in the beginning stages of a similar diagnosis?
Um, Hang in there. Take it an hour at a time because it is literally an hour at a time after a diagnosis like that. And then, a week at a time, a night at a time. Seek therapy if you need it. If you need to talk to someone, I think that that's important too. Um, and it does get better. It gets a little easier. It doesn't get better with how you feel about your child being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, but it does get easier managing it. It gets easier, and them getting into a routine and learning to manage it, it gets easier for them.
So, looking back, Stacy, what key lessons have you learned from this experience, if any?
Um,
I'm sure every
Not,
day you're learning about something, right?
yeah, just not to take things for granted, not to take life for granted. But I learned that a long time ago.
Hmm.
Um, but even more so now with Olivia having this, you have to live your life. You have to try and be as happy as you can, and just know that just because you're healthy now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way because it can change just like that.
Hmm.
One day you're healthy and the next morning you wake up and something happens, right? It happens all the time with just daily life. You wake up, you're healthy, and then in the evening time you might have a little cold or whatever. But sometimes even more serious ailments pop up and you just have to be loving life, taking it easy and happy.
What are your future hopes for Olivia?
Um, I hope that she does everything that she wants to do in life. And there's no reason why she can't. It's just a little bit more challenging for type 1 diabetics, but she can still do everything in life. Um, she even said that she wants to do some traveling after she finishes university. She wants to travel Europe or wherever. And yeah, she can do that, but it's just going to be a little bit harder because who knows where she's going to be getting her insulin from. You can't travel with insulin because it has to be refrigerated.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an issue, right? So we had our first family vacation out of the country last March with Olivia, and that was really stressful leading up to the vacation because I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know, traveling on the plane with insulin and all her diabetic supplies, and I didn't know if um, the people were going to take it away, and like it was very, very stressful, but it all worked out, and everything went smoothly.
Well, Stacy, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your candidness, and we wish Olivia the best. And proud of you guys and everything you
Thank
guys have been
you.
through.
Thank you, Wendy.
There you have it, Bloomers. As we conclude this episode, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to Stacy for generously sharing her and her daughter's poignant journey through the challenges of a diabetes diagnosis. Stacy's candidness and willingness to open up about their experiences not only shed light on the emotional and practical aspects of managing type 1 diabetes, but also contribute significantly to creating awareness in our community. We are truly grateful for her advocacy and the valuable insights she has provided. We'd love to hear your stories. Feel free to share your personal journeys in the comments or via our social media channel. Your stories inspire us and help us grow together as a community of bloomers. Stay tuned for more content, and until next time, keep blooming.